Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. We're glad you're here. Give this video a like.
Podcast, Haberman Middlecoff below in the description. Go subscribe now.
Keep an eye out. We do live stuff on this channel too. John, I don't know if you've noticed, but like you always say, you know what fast guys do? They run. You know what rip guys do? Take their shirts off. You know what fast rip guys do? They run with their shirts off. Justin Fields ran a 4.44 40-yard dash, and I think then made a few. I think the favorite throw in the NFL, social media fans, football fans, I think everyone's favorite throw these days is rolling to the wrong side of your body, throwing across your body down the field. It's the Darnold throw. It's that everyone loves. It's the Zach Wilson, and it's one of the throws.
A bomb down the field.
Yeah, throwing a bomb. That's right.
This was Daniel Jeremiah's tweet. That was impressive. Hashtag Justin Fields.
Just the whole thing, or after one of those events, after the throw, or
after they came back to the studio and the whole thing. Because part of it is last night I lay in bed at about 8:45, try to get on the TB12 method, get to bed before 9:30, and I get a text and I look. It's Greg Papa, the voice of the 49ers, and he is basically starts the text. I have some thoughts on Justin Fields. He's diving deep. He's like, I don't like it. I don't like what I see. And he said, I see a lot of Cam Newton. And I said, you know what? That's not a terrible comp. Because like Cam Newton, this guy is a physical freak, right? He's 6'4". I think he weighed in at 228, and he ran 4.44. Now, Cam was bigger. Cam was 248 at his pro day. Didn't quite run as fast. But to me, when you're 250 and you run a 4.55, it's kind of similar to being 225 and running a 4.44 or whatever. Like Cam's speed was never an issue. But like Cam, some balls just fly over guys' heads. Sometimes it's just a little off. Here's what I know. Back to talking about Mac Jones. If you told me right now, as a rookie, I get with Kyle, Cam Newton or Matt Ryan, I don't fucking hesitate. I'm taking Cam Newton. Because Matt Ryan and Cam Newton, they achieved the same things. And you'd say the one thing about Matt Ryan, like he was around an elite offensive coordinator once. Cam Newton's entire career in Carolina, he had a defensive head coach. So it's like they both won MVPs. I'd be like, if Kyle can get him from the jump, I'll rather take that. And my take is to Papa.
Cam won an MVP with one of the greatest individual seasons of all time.
It was incredible. And it's like no one ever disputed when Cam, even his years non-MVP, when he was on, like in a Pro Bowl type season, but you were just betting against him or he was playing your team, you're like, fuck, this guy's unstoppable. And that's what I'm saying. If I told you that Cam Newton had got Kyle Shanahan for 9 years instead of a defensive head coach Ron's good. I'm not like diminishing Ron, but like the Carolina was always good at defense and running the football. Cam's career is better. So if you told me I get Justin Fields, who has similarities to Cam, I'd be licking my lips if I was Kyle Shanahan. That's what you want. That's where comparing. Those are the type prospects you have to mortgage the future of the farm for, as they did. You do that for the raw ability that you can hit a home run. You don't do that to me, you do that for Cam Newton. You don't do that for Matt Ryan. Now, that doesn't mean, obviously, he probably won't become Cam Newton. The other guy won't become Matt Ryan, but that is the way these discussions happen in draft rooms because you have to compare it. You have to say who he'll be, what his skills are like. And I actually think it's a pretty good comp. But we act like Cam's a negative. Like, Cam was a pretty fucking big positive the last time I checked, right?
Yeah, but Cam also was not a consistent thrower. Like, Cam was not
Matt Ryan.
Well, yeah. I'm not comparing him to Matt Ryan.
Oh, no, I know, but I think we use the Mac Jones, Matt Ryan thing as like a positive. Like, he's not a super flawed player.
But you're saying two different things because we're acknowledging that Mac Jones's floor, just like Matt Ryan's floor, is lower. You're changing the standard. Like, that's part of it. Because you're not going to ask Justin Fields to play like – you don't want Justin Fields to play like Matt Ryan because you don't want Matt Ryan to play like Matt Ryan, right?
No, I'm comparing him to Cam.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is when you draft Justin Fields, if I said to you, you are getting Cam Newton the passer, you'd go, I'm going to want to get a little more out of him than that. Now, if you get the greatest season of all time, it's hard to call that a failure, but you would want more out of it. That's why you said if Kyle had Cam, you would have thought Cam's career would have been better. Like, that's part of this. That goes back to the Mel Kiper, who's been on this podcast. What is it with the Jays? Justin? Nobody likes the guys with the Jays. Underrated part of the rant about Justin Fields was when he just made this offhand comment about the guys with the J. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields. Nobody likes the J guys. What is it with J's? But what did he say? He said this is about his whole thing that everyone latched onto was anticipatory scouting. Like part of this is if you're Kyle, you go, okay, I see what Justin Fields was. And I know there's this pushback on Fields. There's this whole discussion about whether or not he reads defenses and on and on and on and on. But if you're Kyle, you go, okay, that's what he looked like at Ohio State. He might fail in 20 other places. But for me, Kyle Shanahan, even if he doesn't have all of the things that Patrick Mahomes has from defensive diagnostic ability, that's okay. I'm Kyle Shanahan. I can call great plays. I got other players who don't do everything, but I make it work. But what this guy can do when it's just up to him to go make a play is special.
But I remember Patrick Mahomes, it might have been in The Shop, the LeBron HBO show. It might have been. I remember seeing a clip go viral that said his first year he didn't even know what he was doing. I remember Brett Favre, his first year in Green Bay, Matt Hasselbeck or Andy Reid says nickel defense, and he has to look at his backup quarterback. He says, "What's a nickel corner? What's a nickel defense?" He didn't know what that means. That's where Kyle Shanahan comes in. You tell he's got Cam Newton attributes. I want that guy with Kyle because then you mold him and you teach him.
Yeah, no math teacher in 10th grade gets his class together and goes, all right, 10 of you people, you're not capable of learning trigonometry. So whatever. No, it's the teacher's job to teach everybody. Some people know it the first time they put it on the board. Some people have to study an extra 8 hours of homework and need to come to office hours. But the teacher's job is to teach everybody ultimately the subject matter. And we don't talk about coaches as teachers in that way. We talk about footwork. We talk about play calling. But we don't talk about how are you going to become smarter, which is all of that is. Learning is just getting smarter.
Well, and part of it,
like natural smarts versus not smart.
Sometimes
doesn't work that way.
I just need to listen to something else, and I'll listen to like Lewis Howes. He has this podcast where he just interviews high-level people. Half of them I've never even heard of. And I'd say pretty consistently they all have in common is like one thing they say for success is they're just always being curious and always learning. So you're just always improving. Like part of the best players, part of the most successful people in life are just always improving. Like there is no stagnation. So if you meet Justin Fields, or Trey Lance falls under this too, but we're just talking about Justin, and you think he is someone who's constantly wants more, and like this term kind of gets thrown around a lot, like he wants to be great. That's kind of cheesy. You don't even want to be great. Like you just want to keep getting better. Like I talked to Keith Williams, who's now I think a wide receiver coach for Baltimore Ravens, and he always told me about Devontae. He just wants to fucking be great. But I think what that really means is what Devontae really wants to do is just always be better. Like, how do I always improve? And I'd say most successful people in business, they're just always trying to get better. If that is, say this about Cam, clearly Cam gets along with Bill. I do think we probably underrate like Cam's desire and drive and how hard he worked. He just had a kind of a flawed motion. Watching Justin Fields, this guy has a more natural motion. If he always wants to get better and he's a football junkie, which matters, because unlike baseball or basketball, you practice so much. So you really got to like it. That is a differentiating attribute. Like if a guy kind of likes football, but he really likes being famous and getting laid because of it, like give you out on that guy. If you told me Justin Fields was like that, I'd be like, okay.
I want guys that hate getting laid.
But if you told me, you get laid just after you're done studying.
Yeah.
That football is really important to you. Like the reason Tiger Woods kicked everyone's ass wasn't because like obviously he learned from his jump and he played more than anyone from like 2 to 18, but clearly he was addicted to playing golf. He fucking loved it. And I think we talk about Peyton Manning. When I think Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, I'm just like, those guys are addicted to football. Now, Peyton's body quit on him, so he just kind of had to quit the sport. But when you see Peyton on the outside, I bet it looks like he's living retirement. Then he probably has stretches where he really misses it. Because you can't go from 0 to 60 that easily where you were into it and so great at something. And that's where I think Mahomes, when I talk to those guys, it's just like Mahomes is always there. The guy is addicted to football. He's not addicted to money. He's not addicted to the fame. And I think underrated, it works for other positions too. Like, why do Mahomes and Kelsey get along so well? Because you know what? For all the BS, I think we kind of talk Kelsey a little like Gronk. Those guys love playing football. Like Kelsey is a football addict. Gronk's a football addict. Like the best players, Richard Sherman, I think forever, football addict. Like he loves football. And that to me is what to me, if Justin Fields is like that, I have a hard time, and Kyle got his hands on him. I just don't see how he fails. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be an all-time great, but I don't see how he fails.
I think when you're talking about wanting to be great at something, I think there's a lot of the same threads as loving it. And I think there's a lot of the same threads between loving it and having confidence, knowing you can do it, believing that you can do it. Like, I think part of what happens for the guys that believe they can be great, it kind of makes you love it more because you feel like it's right. It is a reachable goal for you. I think it's easier for people who have abs to do sit-ups than it is for people who don't have abs, because you're like, they're right here. My goal is right there in front of me. I've got the abs. I think it's a lot harder to motivate yourself to do the sit-ups when you know it's going to be like 3 years before the abs pop up. So
but it is possible. You just cut out ice cream, you eat better foods.
Yeah, it's just hard. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just harder.
Most people make an excuse.
But the thing I think about is Bryson DeChambeau, because I think there's always this when Bryson's out there putting and it's sundown and he had already finished a round and he hit the driving range. I think there's this, what is this guy doing? Like, what is he trying to just show people how hard he's working? I don't think you can fake working hard for an extra 2 hours a day after you just worked for 6 hours, and then you're going to do it the next day and the next day. And he does it week after week after week, month after month after month, year after year after year after year. Like, that's one thing that pisses me off is when I see that. Like, oh, who does Bryson think he is? Look, man, go hang out with your caddy and go to bed, or don't, whatever. But the guy's working his ass off. And why? A, because he loves it. B, he wants to be great. Maybe, who knows what drives him? Maybe it's the desire to be great. Maybe it's insecurity. Maybe it's that he feels he's so close to being different than everybody else. I don't know. But I know I know he loves it. I know he competes his ass off. And you can't fake that for this long. You just can't. You can't.
I agree.
So
that to me, this as they meet these guys.
Sorry. I just wanted to, what I didn't finish that. The reason I thought of that was Cam Newton. Like, Cam Newton didn't just sit back and play pretty boy quarterback. Like, I know Cam Newton loved football because the kind of football Cam Newton played, you have to love in order to play it that way.
He still did it this year.
I know.
When I was watching him.
I know, when he didn't get to do the other fun shit. Right?
And then he went back to him. Right? He went back to the place. It is pretty hard. Now, they gave him some money, but still, like, I honestly, my respect for Cam went up infinitely this year. As he struggled and he just kept swinging.
Which is probably on us, right? Cam would have been like,
100%.
Why did you respect? You didn't think I was working hard back when I was the best player in the sport?
I think a huge reason is, like, a lot of people in the media that I despise, they liked him, and I just go the other way.
Yeah, I understand. I did that too with Jay Cutler, and look how that worked out for me.
He had some moments.
I just liked him because everyone else hated him. I was like, screw you guys.
Yeah. I was like that with Romo. Romo's way more likable.
We should go that way with Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
I'm good on that one.